Hey guys, welcome back to Cooking with Earl. Today we are going to do something that's near and dear to my heart. I love prime rib steak sandwiches. Oh my gosh, they're so good. But when you do it, you want to make sure that you create a good marinade. So I'm going to show you how I make my marinade. What I've actually done here is I've taken some ribeye steaks, got them in my freezer just to where they're not quite getting to where they're frozen. And then I ran them through the slicer at about 6 mils thick. So I took three ribeye steaks, sliced them down. Now I'm gonna get them ready and I'm gonna make a simple marinade. They're gonna go in my refrigerator for about an hour. If you wanna order ribeye steaks, you can get them in the Savory Butcher chop box at the link below, steak chop box, and you can make your own. But I'm gonna show you guys how I make my marinade to get ready to make awesome steak sandwiches. You can call them a Philly cheesesteak, you can call them French dip, you can call them whatever you want. I'm just calling them my lunch. So here we go. I've got the 6 mil thick cut ribeye steaks, and I'm going to add just about 2 cups of water to my bowl. Then I'm going to put in my dry components, which I want salt. And because I'm using some of these other wet components that have salt, I'm just going to put in some Himalayan sea salt here, just 1 tablespoon. I'm going to put in a tablespoon of coarse cracked pepper. Then I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons of minced garlic, because garlic makes everything better, I think. Okay, there's my dry components. Now I'm going to switch over here. Anytime you're making a marinade, you want to have your salt components, you want to have your acid, but you also need something neutral of fat, like an oil. So I'm going to use extra virgin olive oil, and I'm going to put a 1/4 cup in here with the water. This is just extra virgin olive oil. It's almost like making a salad dressing, right, you guys? Then I'm going to take garlic chili paste, because I like a little bit of bite when I cook things. I'm going to put a tablespoon of that in there. Now, meat and beef in particular, it's always kind of cool to add a little bit of a smoky element. I don't have time to go out and put this in my smoker, so I'm going to use a little bit of liquid smoke, and you want to be sparing with liquid smoke, you guys. You don't want to go crazy because it's really, really easy to overpower it in a hurry. So I'm just going to take this little 1/2 teaspoon right here. I'm going to put a little liquid smoke in right there, just a 1/2 teaspoon of liquid smoke. Then my next component is kitchen bouquet, which is a browning sauce. So you'll use it in gravies and things like that, but it is just awesome when you put it on pork or beef or anything like that. So I love kitchen bouquet. And it's also called, there's other brands out there called like Maggi sauce, M-A-G-G-I, which is a good sauce. It's pretty similar to the kitchen bouquet. Then we're going to add Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire sauce. We're going to put a 1/4 cup of this in here. Just about there. Boom! And then we're going to add some soy sauce. So these again are kind of salty liquid components, but I'm going to get all this in here. I'm going to whisk it up, and that's what I'm going to set my meat into. And that's going to create a lot of rich flavor in this beef today. So a 1/4 cup of that. And remember, I said you need an acid. So I'm not going to juice limes and lemons right now. Most people have this stuff sitting in their kitchen. So we're just going to put a tablespoon or 2 of this lime juice in here, and I'm going to kind of look at it. Yeah, we're going to go with 2 tablespoons. And it's a good time to clean up my little spoon. Boom. Just like that. And we have a marinade. So we're going to whisk it together. Get the oil and water and the soy and the kitchen bouquet all mixed together. Man, I can already smell the garlic coming off of it. I didn't go crazy with seasonings. I might season the meat a little bit as I'm cooking it. You'll see here later on in the video, but we're just going to take this, it's whisked together, and we're just going to start putting these pieces of ribeye steak in here and letting them start doing the marinade process. And again, this was a 6 mil cut. You can cut them as thick as you want or as thin as you want, but because there's such supreme marbling and fat in here, these are going to cook down and they're going to have awesome flavor. You're probably not going to pick up a lot of the marinade in the fat itself, but it will definitely soak into the muscle meat portion of it. So we'll get this all in here. And it was 3 ribeyes. If you want to slice them, you're not going to be able to sit here with a knife and slice it like that. I mean, you can, but they're probably not going to come out this thick or this thin. So I actually ran mine through a meat slicer. And if you're going to run meat like this through a meat slicer, you can see it's pretty soft, pretty supple because of all the fat and marbling that's in it. You're going to have to put it into your freezer for just a little bit to firm it up. So we got this in the marinade. I'm just going to kind of turn this around like this. Then I'll cover it up. Boom, into the refrigerator for 2 hours. And this is gonna make an awesome lunch. We're gonna serve it up on toasted hoagie rolls, with a little bit of Munster cheese. We're gonna put some yellow pepper, some onion on it, and we're gonna have awesome sandwiches. But this is how I make my marinade. This is a universal marinade. You can use it for game meat, you can use it for beef, you can use it for chicken, for pork, whatever you want. If you like the flavor, you can use it over and over again. And you can add more chili paste if you want, less chili paste. You can substitute in with crushed red pepper flakes, cayenne, things like that. But you can get really creative. But as far as a baseline marinade goes, you want to make sure you have your oil, you have your water, you have your salt, and you have your acid, which we've got all of those components in this. I'll talk to you soon when we get ready to cook this. This is Erle's Cooking Show. Here we go. Okay, so we've got the thin sliced ribeye in there marinating. I think it's time that we get our vegetables together, and I'm going to show you a cool way that I like to prep my vegetables. But I also want to show you a way that I slice my peppers. Peppers are an awesome component. You can get them sweet, you can get them hot. These are yellow, they're nice and sweet. And I'm going to show you how I cut these things down because it works for me and I want to share it. So you see how the peppers got 1, 2, 3, 4 little knobs on it? What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go right down and cut down those seams just like this. Then I'm going to take it and I'm going to pull it away. See how I've still got the stem there? I'm going to go here, find the next one. And I'm just going to pull it away. And the next. So I end up not having the waste on the pepper, but more importantly, I don't get a whole bunch of seeds mixed in with my stuff. But we're going to add some peppers to this. I like to take and cut just this little white part out because it's a little more bitter. It's not as sweet as the rest of the pepper. And sometimes you can catch a few extra little seeds attached to it. This skin here. Oh, yep. And see, there's a couple little seeds. So we'll get that off. There we go. Now I've got my peppers ready. And all I'm going to do is slice these things thin. So I get my fingers set in here and I look for my spot. And I'm just going to create little thin slices. And I'm going to end up doing the same thing with my onion. But if you notice, when I'm cutting, I always keep my fingernails tucked back in because I can use this as a guide for my knife. And these knives are very sharp. So I just use my fingers, the front side of my fingers as a guide. Keep my thumb out of the way. And then slice these critters down. So you get those, or you can take, and some people like to go like this and they'll just drag their knife along the edge, which is fine, but the problem with doing that is you run the risk of turning in and cutting your knuckles. So if you use this as a guide right here, you see how my fingers are pulled away from the blade? It just makes it a lot easier when it comes to cutting, and it's a lot safer. The last thing you want in the kitchen is to get a cut, especially with yellow peppers. That just doesn't look good. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get these guys trimmed down. Then I'm gonna show you how I set the vegetables up in the bowl, because remember, this is gonna get mixed with the ribeye that we're getting ready to cook off, and we're gonna put it on hoagie rolls and make these wonderful prime rib or ribeye sandwiches. You'll hear me say prime rib a lot because the reality is a ribeye steak is cut off of a prime rib. So they're kind of prime rib sandwiches. I'm gonna do the same thing with the onion, but you see again, my fingers are pulled back, and I'm just gonna cut really thin slices. Sometimes I'll take these onions and I'll dredge them in flour, kind of like you get ready to make onion rings, but I'll take and I'll dredge them in flour, and it adds a little more crispness to it. And if I'm adding seasonings, it has a tendency to hold on to it a little bit better. So I'm gonna take these and I'm just gonna work them in my hands like this to break them apart. So I don't want big clods of onions in my sandwich. I want them all separated, and I love the flavor of these Walla Walla sweet onions. Walla Walla, Washington produces some great sweet onions, but if you're not in Washington State, you can get Vidalias or whatever you'd like. Then I've just got some regular button mushrooms that I already sliced up, and I'm gonna add those. All right, so now here's kind of my little secret and how I like to do the vegetables. I'm gonna take some toasted sesame oil, and I'm gonna drizzle that ahead of time over my vegetables. This is gonna do a couple things. This is gonna keep them from sticking to the pan, but it's also gonna let my seasoning stick with it. So I've got some dehydrated chives, rather than taking those are the green onions, rather than chopping them up all real small, I'm just gonna add these there. Then I've got some granulated garlic. Now, you can use fresh garlic, but we're gonna go into a really hot pan. And when you use fresh garlic, it has a tendency to burn and stick. That's why when you use fresh garlic in cooking, you always kind of want to add it at the end. So I'm gonna put some granulated garlic here. Then I've got some Himalayan sea salt. We're just gonna sprinkle that over there. And we're just gonna take and mix all of these veggies up. Oh man, that smells so good. You got that toasted sesame coming through. And I like the toasted sesame. It works good in a lot of Asian-inspired dishes, but I use virgin olive oil on just about everything, it seems like. And so I like experimenting with some of the other flavored oils. In some of my other videos, I'll probably end up showing you how to make flavored oils yourself at home, so you can have the lemon, the basil, the Italian spice, the garlic. Heck, you can get crazy. You can go into it with berries and stuff like that. But I've got the mushrooms, the onions, the chives all mixed up. I'm gonna put these in the fridge so they're gonna be about the same temperature as the steak is when I get ready to cook it. Now, I'm gonna actually pull those things out of the refrigerator. I'm gonna take the meat, and I'll show you what I'll do with that when I get ready to. But this is ready to go in the fridge, and this is how I get my vegetables prepped up for these prime rib steak sandwiches. Okay, so it's been a couple hours. This prime rib roast or ribeyes has been marinating, and what we're gonna do is we're just gonna take and pour it right through here and let that marinade dry off, get off of it a little bit here. We'll just spread this around, just let this kind of leak down. This has soaked up a lot of that marinade that we did earlier, and we're gonna be going over to the skillet and getting this stuff cooking with the veggies, and it is gonna be good. All right, that looks good. Oh, smell is amazing. I cannot wait. I'm excited about this. So we'll throw this over here. And we'll head over to the stove. We got the stove going. It's getting nice and hot. We're gonna start throwing these pieces in. Because they are so thin, you guys, it is not gonna take long to cook these at all. Then we're gonna load them right up onto those Kaiser rolls, throw some cheese on it, hit the broiler, and we'll be done. All right, so we've got our Kaiser rolls. They're toasted off. I like to toast them off because we're gonna put a pretty wet mixture on it. And I'm going to actually strain it up, but then it's gonna go right back into the broiler and boom, we're gonna be done. But I'm gonna bring this over here. And the reason I like to strain this off is when you're cooking down vegetables and stuff like that, you're gonna get a lot of moisture. But I don't wanna overcook the meat. I'm looking for the perfect medium tender tear on that meat. So I'm actually going to strain it off. And what I can do with the juices is I can actually create a really nice au jus or something like that. So this is done. We're going to bring this over. Look at that. But we're going to bring this over. Look at that. Buddy, that looks good, and the smell is even better. Look at that. Look at that. Wow. Get the stove turned off. So this is just kind of straining off, and I'm gonna create a really nice au jus out of it here a little bit later, because some people like to dip their hoagies into an au jus, but this allows me to do that. And then I'm just gonna start loading up these buns. Got the vegetables, got the steak, and look at this, you guys. This is no joke. Look at that. Oh. Oh, that's so good. So I'm gonna try to equally distribute this over on the rolls. Get a little bit for all of them. We are gonna have ourselves some prime rib sandwiches here. That one there, I might not even use that one. We're gonna feed everybody in the office today. Bam, that looks good. Oh, buddy. Let's see. I don't think I'm gonna use that one there. I'm gonna load this one up a little more. Load this one up a little more. Now I think we'll hit them with some cheese. So we got all of this out of here, and look at all this wonderful au jus we have, you guys. This is great for dipping your sandwich into. We're gonna set this over kind of like that, and we'll throw some Munster on here because it melts so nicely. Throw some of that on. Get excited because I already tasted the prime rib, and it is so delicious. And put that over there. It's gonna work out just right. We'll go back into the broiler with this, let that cheese melt down just a little bit. Then you can hit it with some mayo or some horseradish, whatever you prefer. Go there. And you know what? Since we're doing it and I love cheese, let's hit it with some cheddar too. Bam! A little bit of cheddar. Cheddar makes the world go better. Oh, these look so good, you guys. Super excited. I think I'll probably grab some horseradish out and put a little bit of that on there. Mayo. All right. So we are set with those. Now we'll just throw them back into the oven for a minute and let that cheese melt. And these will be done. Okay. And just like that, we have some prime rib sandwiches. Oh, buddy. Let's take this guy right here. We'll set it over on the cutting board. Let's give it a quick little gander. Oh, look at that, you guys. That looks wonderful. And tastes just as good too. Yeah, I'm Erle. This is my kitchen. If you want to make this at home, now you know how. Make sure you like and subscribe down below, and we'll see you next time on Cooking with Erle. Talk to you later.